for this morning, there are two things that I would like to just encourage you with. Something that we can learn from this passage. John chapter 13, verse 1 to 17. I'm just going to give two principles, especially for us who are in leadership level, either in the convention, either in the association level, either in a fellowship, either as a pastor or as a missionary. I think we are in some way a leader. It does not matter how many people are following us, how many numbers that we have behind us, but in some way, I think we are leaders in one form or other. And the greatest leadership principle we can learn is from our Lord Jesus Christ. And the first one that I'm going to give you is something very common. And second one is something that probably many of the leaders don't like to listen also. So the first one that I would like to take out from the principle of Jesus for this morning is, Jesus gives us a principle of serve to lead. Serve to lead. Now that is a very common phrase. According to the Harvard Chronicles, there are more than 10,000 books written on leadership. No other books have been written on leadership than other books. Leadership is the books that almost everyone is writing about. You can talk about corporate work, you can talk about the church, you can talk about anything. People love to write about leadership. And it is the most read book, it is the most written book as well. But the greatest principle of leadership that we can learn is our Lord Jesus Christ. And probably in this passage before he was crucified, I think he gives us two principles for each of us. And that is something that I want to encourage you this morning. So number one principle is that Jesus' principle of leadership is serve to lead. Not the other way around, but serve to lead. This is what John Stott said. John Stott, a very famous evangelical leader who started the Lausanne movement with Billy Graham. This is what he said. The authority by which the Christian leader leads is not power but love. He goes on. Not force but example. Not coercion but reason, persuasion. He says, leaders have power, but power is safe only in the hands of those who humble themselves to serve. So the first principle that Jesus gives us as leaders is this, that serve to lead. Remember that Jesus was on this earth, let's say, maybe 33 and 3.5 years. But he was leading for 3 years to 3.5 years his disciples. While he was leading them, he was also serving them. And just before he left, he gave us one of the greatest examples of what leadership is. Leadership is about serving the people. Now, let me come back to the Northeast context again. In the Northeast context, what exactly is leadership? Probably Dave, I don't know how much he's familiar with our Northeast. In the Northeast, in this context, when we talk about leadership, it's about chair. The place where we sit is leadership. No doubt. We don't want to argue against that. Number two is a designation. If you are a leader, you must have certain designation that you carry with. Either you are a pastor, you are a chaplain, you are a executive secretary, or whatever it is, that you must have a designation in order to be a leader. And number three, you must have the power to do things. You must have certain power with you that when you say it, that people follow you. And that is a leadership. Number four, in Northeast context, when you have backings or when there are people who are behind you, who push you and say, you have to be there. And we say that is a leadership. Number five is, if you are a good orator or a good speaker, someone whom you can influence by your communication skill, and people say that is a leader. And last, in a Northeast context, if you are a leader, you must have certain degrees. Either a Bible college degrees or security, it doesn't matter. But you must have certain degrees in order to be a leader. That is the context of Northeast India. I'm not saying that is bad. I don't want to argue against that. But If this is the leadership, but then we need to look at the disciples of Jesus Christ again. None of them have designation. They're all fishermen. Some of them were tax collectors. None of them have any designation, anything like no degrees, nothing. But Jesus was giving us a principle that you want to be a leader, you must know how to serve people. It doesn't matter which leadership